Christina and you're watching Proud Book Lion, and today I'm doing my wrap-up part 2 out of 2018. And since we last spoke, I've actually read, 7 books, but 2 out of those were rereads. So I read 7 books that I'm counting for my Goodreads goal, but there's only 5 new books to talk about. But let's get into them. So first up, I read Before I Let You Go by Marieke Niekamp. I'm not sure. I believe she's Dutch, or that her name is Dutch at least. And she is a queer disabled writer, which I do really appreciate. And this was the Booksplosion book of the month of January, and it's about this girl named Kyra, or rather it's about Corey trying to figure out what happened to Kyra, because they have been best friends since forever. But Corey leaves this isolated little town in Alaska, and just days before she's actually going back and meeting Kyra again, she finds out that Kyra has completed suicide, and she's going back to town for the funeral, and she's going to figure out what happened, because last time she saw Kyra wanted to become better, and she wanted to go into treatment for her bipolar disorder, and she promised that she would wait for Corey. I really love this book. I think I actually get it 5 out of 5 stars. I know that some people, I do understand how it builds up and then there's no really big thing that happens in the end, and it's very hard to understand if there's magical elements or if it's only the reality. And I'm not even sure what I personally believe, but it has asexual representation. Corey is asexual and Kyra is pansexual. It has great bipolar disorder representation from what I've gathered. It also talks about how your illness is not your identity and how people need to stop treating illnesses as identities, which I just really appreciate. So that might have overshadowed problems for my own part, but for me, I really love this book. I love thrillers and tension building up, and even if I understand that a lot of people do not think the ending is satisfactory, I don't really think the ending is that satisfactory either, but for me that doesn't really make any huge difference, just because I so really appreciate what this novel talks about when it comes to how your illness is not your identity and how those two things are separate, how people want to become better and that should be respected, and just the ease and naturality, and just how it's not a big deal with their sexualities that are on the LGBTQIP+ spectrum. So I just really love this book. After that, for the biannual bibliothon, I read Carrie by Stephen King, because this is mentioned in 198 different books and movies. I read it because it was mentioned in Gilmore Girls, but fun thing is I read it in one of the books that I read for Bibliothon as well, where they mentioned the movie Carrie. I did not really like this book, I'm sorry. It's a short book, it's only 248 pages. If you somehow aren't aware of what it's about this girl that has telekinetic abilities, but she's raised by her mother, and she is a Christian fanatic, and is kept very she's alone, she doesn't have any friends, she believes in God, and not that believing in God is a bad thing, but it's very extreme. They are fanatics, and her mother has not even told her about menstruation and normal things that happen when you grow up. So things happen in this novel, and she's excluded by all of her classmates. But then there's this prom that, because one of the girls in her class, she's feeling self-conscious and bad over things that happen in the novel, she forces her boyfriend to take Carrie to prom, and things don't go as planned. Or for some people it goes as planned, but not really. It's like a horror book. It's short. I've seen the movie with Chloe Grace Moretz, because I love Chloe Grace Moretz, and I really enjoy that movie. But I don't care for this book that much. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, for the mental illness representation book challenge, I read We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. Yes, Dylan. I really did enjoy this book, and it was just really great, and has depression representation, if I understood everything correctly. And I loved the aliens and the sci-fi elements, and I loved how the main character, Henry Denton, he talks about things and his metaphors, and how he thinks and acts, and it's give me all the queer mentally ill main characters, because I adore them. Obviously. No, but I just really love this book, and I flew through it, and I think I get 5 out of 5 stars 4 out of 5 stars, something like that. Then I read the group book, which was Otherworld by Jason Segel, and I read it again. It's a reread because it was the Booksplosion book, and I enjoyed it even less this time. The things that I did like is that the main character is Jewish. I really appreciated that. And I love Jason Segel's writing. It feels very like humoristic, and it feels like there are moments of comic relief. It feels like those are his like additions, and those are very appreciated. I think I lowered the rating from 4 to 3.5 stars out of 5, but yeah, it was fine. Then I read Dead is the New Black by Marlene Perez, and this is for the backlisted title and for the under 200 pages because it only has 190 pages. And the main reason why I read it is because the main character's name is Daisy Giordano, and it's about these psychic sisters, although Daisy is not psychic, and how one of the girls in her school seems to have become a vampire, and that it's like hot to be vampire, so that's why it's called That Is the New Black. And it's like cheerleading. It's just a really fun and easy read, and I flew through it, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but yeah, it was just an enjoyable, short, and not very deep read, but I did enjoy it. It was just this classic like YA book. It feels like anybody could write, even if I know that's not true, and being a writer, like writing 1 page is amazing. But it just feels like this classic YA trope things mixed in together. But I did really appreciate this supposed dead girl. I think I liked her the best. I've forgotten her name right now. Samantha. I really appreciated Samantha because her character did not follow that trope to like a T. Next up, I read the sequel challenge. I believe that's 7 challenges, isn't it? And it was huge, and I don't know why I read it during a readathon, but that's me. I read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman, and I love this book so much. I don't know why I waited to read it until now. I literally love this book with my entire heart. I love like literally every single novella. I love Simon, and I love this world, and I'm so excited for Queen of Air and Darkness, but I'm also afraid because it's going to break me. I'm not going to survive that book. Luckily it's in December, so I mean, full life ahead of me. No, but I really love this book. Loved all the stories, loved all the new characters that are introduced, loved the entire Shadowhunter Academy setting. You just love this book, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. So those were the 5 books that I read for Bibliothon, and then my last reread and last book I'm going to talk about today was, I don't have the jacket on right now, but City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I messed it up while I was like, I had it in my backpack and I was taking the bus, so I'm sad. But I really enjoyed this reread. It was so fun, and if you haven't watched the live shows for Before I Let Go or City of Bones, I'll leave those down below because they are so exciting. I read it for Emma's like readathon of the, well, all of the Shadowhunter books. So I read that for that, and I watched the live show yesterday actually, when I'm filming this. And yeah, I really just loved it, and it was great. And I love like seeing things now, because like Hodge is very apparent reading it a second time around, and Jay's character is very consistent reading it a second time, and like with having the movie and show influence him, reading him in this first book again just shows me how consistent he has been, like this comic relief guy, but also how complicated and vulnerable his character is sometimes. And I just really loved revisiting this world, and it was just the greatest experience. Not the greatest experience, but it was just a great experience. However, I did not give it 5 out of 5 stars. I'm not sure why. I just don't think it's one of Cassandra Clare's strongest books. So I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And those were all the books that I read since last time we spoke. Have you read any of these? Please let me know down below. Or just let me know down below one amazing book that you read these like past weeks, month that we haven't spoken. But yeah, I guess that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me, and I hope you have a great day, /night, /whatever part is for you. Bye!